Good afternoon once again, fine people of the internet. So, yeah, pardon the, flip-flopping earlier, again, when I first woke up I wasn't feeling the best, so, but I figured something out, just needed some food and caffeine. So, I'm all fine now. So again, this isn't a proper songwriting stream I'm doing today, this is just a little, humble guitar tone chasing stream. So there's a reason I'm doing this. As you may or may not already know, I'm already working on another batch of music emissions. Ergo, I sort of decided that it would be a good time to sort of overhaul my. Well, maybe not overhaul. I figured it was a good time to really reevaluate my sound and see what I can do to improve it here and there. And so I decided that for this application, it would probably be a decent idea to look to one of my old projects. As a matter of fact, you may have seen on Twitter yesterday that I actually got pretty sidetracked when it came to actually getting this ready for stream. I ended up overhauling it quite a bit. So I called it a remaster, but again, that's not entirely accurate. Cece, best clops in the house. Good to see you. Pleasure to see you again. It was a pleasure seeing you last night as well. I was glad to see you again. Sick or not, it was a nice little treat getting to see you stream again. And getting to see you draw, that was also nice. Yeah, definitely, like I said last night, I definitely want to hit you up again for some art when you're a little less busy. I desire a chibi. Spoilers. But yeah, so again, this is one of my old projects, song that I released quite some time ago. So what I ended up doing was reprogramming it quite a bit, because I've realized a few things about my programming style. This isn't, nice, I'll try to be there for that too. Anyways, like I was about to say, so, this is probably not going to make sense to musicians, but this is an explanation that I might as well give anyways. So, you see right here, this is, yeah, it's a chibi. Can't be all grim and brutal all the time. Sometimes I just want to be cute, you know? So anyways, there, that should make it more visible. So as you can see here, not every note is the same color, because I currently have it colored by velocity. There are multiple options I use, but this is usually the one I prefer, unless I'm working with one of my crazy symphonic sort of projects where I need to have, where I'm basically working in different channels, as they call them. But whatever the case. So, in this case, color means velocity. The closer to red the color is, the harder the sample is. So as you can see on this drum part, sure there's a lot of red, but there's still green, blue, and yellow here and there. Because again, that's what you need to do in order for the sound to be realistic. Although it certainly helps that a good few of these tracks were actually recorded by a proper drummer. So that's how you know it's completely realistic. Well, that and timing, but that's not quite as relevant here. So, here is the problem with the guitars and the way I was programming them, and a lot of the reason why I wasn't getting quite the tone I wanted, because that's sort of the point of today. I wasn't getting the tone I wanted. I was putting everything at maximum velocity. That doesn't sound realistic whatsoever. So I decided to change my approach a bit. And look at this. Everything is at almost max. Not the biggest difference in the world, but that's sort of a consequence of this particular plugin. Can't really afford to, shit. Can't afford to do anything like in this track, where everything's all over the place, comparatively. That's when you have to stick to the grid, which is called quantized. So if I were to compare it to art, I suppose it would be Sort of like making sure not every line is the same width. That looks significantly more artificial, more MS Painty, whereas if you want a proper professional drawing, you want to vary your line width. Make sure they're thicker in some places, thinner in others. Line variety. Pretty critical. And that's a little the reason I can't art, because I cannot make that happen with my very limited art skills. This is another the fact that I can't really handle a tablet. So anyways, that was the spiel on that. So it just occurred to me that, since this is an old song, it may need some proper reference. So, let me switch to this screen real quick, and I'll try to pull up the song so that you can very briefly take a listen to it, and you can compare and contrast with what the song actually sounds like. Alright, so if I do that... So let me switch back to the screen real quick. Yep, there we go. So yeah, this is the song we're working with. Voodoo, my song for the lovely, the one and only Kitanya. And if you don't know who that is, allow me to enlighten you. That's a very clever way, clever way of doing it. But again, even that's beyond my capabilities. The thing is, doesn't help that I absolutely hate working with lines anyways. That's all the reason if I were to ever properly try to do art, I would probably go for a painting style. Anyways, like I said, you need a reference for what I did to change the song, so... let's take a listen to Voodoo. Once I actually turn this on, that would help. That's awkward. It's not playing at OBS. That's not a good sign. Okay, let me fix this. There we go. Now it's playing. Perfect. So, now for real this time. Come to think of it, maybe I should make sure, double check to make sure. Yep. Microphone's playing, probably should have assumed that, but in any case. So, Voodoo, take a listen. So again, that's the song that we're working with. So I'm still real proud of that. I still think it came out really good for what it was, especially considering it was just a sort of on a whim project that I just spent a couple of hours doing one day, just because I was like, hey, wouldn't it be the funniest thing ever if I just took a really soft, happy song I made and made it metal? And Tanya clearly liked it because for like 75% of her streams so far, that's been the opening song to it, which flatters me quite a bit. You may know that I made songs for all of her friends, that entire friend group, the Gorls, as they're called. And yet she's the only one who regularly still uses my song for her in her stream openings. Which fucks with me a bit. You wouldn't expect that of her. She doesn't strike anybody as the metal type. And yet she still does it. Just because she likes the song that much. Certainly fits if she's using one particular opening screen of hers, the one of her in Knight's armor. Cool ass looking screen. My song fits it pretty well. And again, just completely flattering that she uses it. So anyways, like I said, the programming is so far all that I've altered. As far as this song goes. But even then, it'll still sound pretty different. Take a listen to it as it is now. So there it is again. The differences should already be pretty audible. I think it sounds a lot more realistic this way. However, that said, the programming I did... See, I didn't change any of the amps or anything that I use, which, it's sort of, making the tone a bit awkward, because I did dial in that tone with the weird, all on, all the time programming going on. So, that's a lot of the point of this stream. Gotta fix that up. Gotta change the guitar tone to make it suit my new programming style a bit more. The more realistic one. So, to explain what I did besides the velocities, and so, here's my usual guitar plugin, Relate. So, I'm gonna be level with you guys, I've had a bit of a devil of a time getting a tone I actually want out of this thing. Like, it sounds good out of the box, but it can still be closer to what I want. However, it occurred to me that there were a lot of controls that I actually wasn't thinking of. Didn't actually think to use. One of which being output, right here. So, by default, this volume slider is all the way down here. Much quieter than you would think. Which I realized is probably part of the reason. A lot of the tones I like, the volume is a lot louder than that. So, I think this is basically simulating pickup output, these things right here. Some pickups are lower output, others are much higher output. And if I'm in a situation like this, I probably want higher output. So just for the sake of argument, let's take a chunk of the song here, and I'll just play it a bit. So the effect's a bit on the subtler side, but if you do notice, it's got a little more gain, a little more distortion, a little more sustain. Again, that's what I want out of this track. I think I maxed it out, but I think instead I'll just leave it almost maxed. You want to leave yourself at least a little headroom, just in case. Just in case. You never know when you'll need more. And if it's already as loud as it can be, then you're sort of screwing yourself later. And these EQs are also lower, but I just brought them up slightly high, slightly higher than low. That just seemed to be closer to what I wanted. So, I'll just go on that as far as programming goes. Also, welcome to the stream, T-Bird. Good to see you. So, you may be wondering, well, what tone did you use in the original? And I'll show you real quick. So, I was using Dr. Drive. This is my usual overdrive. It's one of those crazy gent sort of drives sometimes. That makes sense, Still happy to see you. Anyways, so I was using this preset because I sort of thought outside the box. I was using an amp sim based on the venerable Marshall JCM800. Somewhat of an older amp. Very vintage sort of amp. Doesn't really have all that much gain out of the box. Doesn't distort all that much. Hence why I technically use much crazier settings than I usually would. In most rhythm tones, this knob would be at 0. But I just chose a preset and stuck with it. One usually meant for lead guitar, for the rhythms. In most cases that would be unbearably sloppy, but again, I was using a vintage amp, so I figured that's what I wanted. And for the cabinet simulation, the Impulse, was just using one of my older ones. Rosen Digital, this company doesn't exist anymore. They became Lancaster Audio now, technically. That's where the gentleman this company, Rob Rosen, ended up making. So there was a bit of a schism. Once there was Rosen Digital, and it was amazing. However, 2 of their employees, Joe Quick and Chris Lucas, apparently had some behind-the-scenes disagreements with Mr. Rosen, so they split off and made their own company, 3 Sigma Audio. That should be a familiar name to you if you're a regular on the stream. I use a lot of their plugins quite a bit. I enjoy those guys. I like their impulses, their software. They're just good guys. I like supporting them. Lancaster, not so much. Their impulses, I think, are pretty overpriced, but the Rosen stuff still holds up today. Still very nice. Much harder to find for obvious reasons, but still good. Music stuff doesn't age, usually, if it's good enough. So, that said, I think it's time to switch around. We'll see what else is going on. So, we'll start from the top. We'll reset this to factory default. And take off the amp and cab simulation. It's going to sound like ass at first, but don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Well, first I should probably show you, that sound is the direct input, DI. That's what Relight sounds like right out of the box, no processing. Because that's what an actual DI sounds like. Very technologically impressive, but not what we want. And that's where all these plugins come in. So, as always, first order of business is the overdrive. And with this added, it sounds like this. Not the most pleasant sound in the world, but again, that's only step 1. So, I'll just play with some knobs and show you how it does. Again, let's start with bringing the drive down to 0. Already much closer to the original DI. So, the next important one is the level. Drive is basically distortion. Level is essentially the input. How much of the signal is going into the amp? From 0 all the way to 100. Which is a crazy setting. So, the pedal this plugin was based on. It's based on the Horizon Devices Precision Drive. Made by Misha Mansour of Periphery. Again, gent dude. This is a gent pedal in a lot of ways, but it's not a one-trick pony. You can use it for pretty much any application you would use a classic green tube screamer in, which I'll show you later. So, again, the level, let's play with this. At 0, you hear nothing, but as I move it up... So we're at 60%, but here's the funny thing about this. This would be maxed out on most of the green tube screamer pedals. However, you can go much further than this. In the words of the company themselves, it goes up to 11 and beyond. Let's hear what that sounds like. Yeah, that's pretty insane. We'll stick to a more conservative setting for the moment here. Why not? So next up is the brightness switch. On a tube screamer clone, this would usually be the tone switch. It processes only the high end. I'll just show instead of tell. At neutral... we'll try going a little darker. Very dark, fuzzy sort of sound. Let's go the other way. So yeah, at max it lives up to its name. It's pretty bright over there. We'll keep it at 50 for now. And now, here's where the precision drive comes into its own. The attack knob. I don't know what exactly it does, because on all the product pages, it pretty much just says it's a tone shaping tool. It attacks bad tone. So basically, it just tightens it up, fattens it up. The higher you go, the more spanky, single coily it becomes. We'll play with it and see what it sounds like. So yeah, higher over we go, the less low end there is. I'll have to come back to that setting later. And drive we already discussed, so... I think for the sake of demonstration, we'll switch amp sims. So... I think first I want to play with what used to be my absolute favorite amp sim, and still is in a lot of ways. Number reading audio, BST 100. Based on essentially the grandfather of high-gain amplification, the Soldano SLO 100. Still a very revered, still to this day a very revered amp sim. I mean, an amplifier. Still being produced today in some quantities. I don't recall whether this is based on a classic one or one of the more modern ones. I suppose we'll see. But in any case. Also, another thing about this amp sim, it comes with its own impulse loader. Its own impulses, so if I wanted to use NatIR, I would just bypass it here, but for the sake of argument, we're just going to stick with this. Just to see how it sounds. Now, out of the box, it has what it assumes is a mix-ready tone, but that's not what I want to fuck with at the moment. I want to see what it sounds like. Everything at 5. Everything at noon. Just because I want to know what the character of the amp sounds like right away. So, let's hear how it sounds. Also, I decided to demonstrate why I need that boost pedal. Sort of flubby, sort of low-endy if I don't have boosted. So, the immediate thing that sticks out to me is that this does not have enough gain on it. I need to really up the gain on this. So let's do so. We're getting there, still a little sludgy for my tastes. Probably has to do with this. So, for the sake of argument, I already know something I can do. So, it gives you a choice of mics. I'm just going to do this, not going to bother explaining it. Besides that, this is called the Fredman technique. Just taking two of these mics, tilting one of them slightly. Usually you would put it straight on. Like, you know how microphones work. You just put it up to the source and let it capture it. And usually you would want it straight on, but if you angle it a bit, it gives it a different sound, which is usually undesirable, but in this case, it is what you want. So, it sounds a little something like this. There. They match. Usually you want them to be at the same volume for this application. Yeah, I still don't think there's enough gain on this thing. Good for the moment. Then again, let's hit the attack knob. Let's see what that does. Okay, this is finally at settings I'm happy with. So now that we've got that sorted, now that the impulse sounds roughly what I want, let's actually play with the amp. Play with these knobs. So my usual method is, I bring everything down to 0. So, the vast majority of amp sims, these would be at 5, bring them down to 0. Just to see what everything, now that we know what the character of the amp sounds like in general, which I know I like, now I want to get a little more specific. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these up one at a time, just to see what is going on. What frequencies these are affecting, and which ones I like, which ones I don't. The ones I like, I'll keep nice and high, or as high as I think is practical. Because too much of a good thing really tends to apply to guitar tone. Sure, the bass might sound good on its own, but you gotta remember, this is a full mix we're dealing with here. Treble might be a little hairy, presence... The sample's a little weird of the presence, but you'll hear that when we get to it. Anyways, I'll do the process and I'll start with the mids. Yeah, like I said, the presence knob, 9 to 10, like, 50% of the range is between these knobs, which is very strange, but that's just how this amp goes. Anyways. Alright, so those are settings I like. So with that done, I think I'll go ahead and paste this onto the other track. Because again, double tracking. Taking the same thing and having it play over twice. Very common technique. Exceedingly common technique. That's basically most modern metal right there. And some crazy people even quad track it, which this plugin is capable of, but I haven't found a use for that yet. Little too much going on in this part for that to make sense. So, anyways. I'll demonstrate the difference double tracking can make. So, here's one guitar on its own. Sounds cool, but it could be better. So, let's drag this to the right, to the left. Usually it would be at 100% either direction, but I don't like that. That screws over headphone users. So, I only put it 90% of the way there. So now let's turn this on. See, much more richer, much richer sounding, much nicer. Very nice. Well, before I move on from, I should also probably mention these. So, this is PTEQX, this is just an EQ. I'm using what's called a low-end trick. So, these sorts of EQs, usually you would want them to affect the same band, but no, they affect slightly different bands. Which is actually fine for this application, because it gets rid of frequencies that it gets rid of woolly frequencies in favor of, yeah, I'll demonstrate instead. How's that? That's fine. Have a good shift, T-Bird. Thank you for coming. So, yeah, that's actually something I've never done before. This is just me deciding to play with it, and I actually really like that sound. Yeah, I actually really like that. That's nice. I agree. And this is just me screwing around. Like, again, this is just me trying to find something new to do. And it just wound up actually working out. So to explain that, so 3 kilohertz, that's what this means. You want to get rid of that usually. It's sort of an annoying frequency. Like, it's necessary in lead guitar just because that's the frequency that makes them poke out, but in rhythm applications, it's just a really harsh sort of resonance. Undesirable. Sounds annoying. So, yeah, these are actually really nice settings. Very nice. As a matter of fact, I'm going to save that as a preset. Just because I want to remember these settings. Those might actually come in handy later. That said, there's still one more thing we need to do as far as around the guitars, and that's multiband compression. If I leave these alone, then the palm mutes are going to interfere with the bass frequencies and just make the mix sound messier. So that's what this is for. See, you see -1, -5, that sort of thing. It's clamping down on the palm mutes. It's clamping down on this frequency alone. Just making sure the bass and kick drum and everything have room in the mix. So let's see how it sounds in context. Very nice if I do say so myself. That's turning out really nice. That said, I think there's still further experimentation to be done. Because this still isn't quite what I'm going for. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that this is the pick position slide. This is also another very important distinction to make. Usually you want it closer to the bridge. That's realistically where a metal guitarist who isn't a gent guitarist would put it. So I like how it sounds there. We'll keep it there. Goes from 7 to -7, and apparently 3 was the position I wanted. Send it. So we'll have to solo this again for the sake of argument. I'm not feeling the simples now that I think about it. Let's load another one. So here's my big-ass simples loader library. We'll just pick a few just to see what sounds good. We'll start with Catharsis. That's usually a safe bet. Basically doing what I did here, except it does it automatically. So still not quite what I'm looking for, but we're going in the right direction. Let's look into 3 Sigma Audio. So, sold 4x12. This is essentially their take on that same cabinet that they have over there. Sort of. So, we'll just try a few out of this folder and see how it goes. Yeah, I gotta be careful with the volume balancing. Don't want to blow out the speakers. Metaphorically. Okay, so I'm liking balance 2A the best out of this. That said, if I want to do that, I have to copy it over here. Sort of a pain in the ass to just attempt to copy settings the hard way, so let's see how that sounds. After I bring this back where it's supposed to be. Okay, so they're apparently having a little trouble competing with the leads, so suppose we'll put my attention there next. I'll put my attention there next. So we'll skip to this part, the chorus, so to speak. Solo it up. Let's hear how it sounds. So sounds good as it is. So again, this is for a lead guitar, we can leave this alone. So these two gotta go. The chorus we're keeping there. I'll explain what that does in a moment. But first, I think the smart thing to do first would be to, where is it? There it is. Take this. Copy this plugin over here. Just to see what it sounds like. So yeah, this is something I don't do all the time. I was actually looking at presets. Just because I want to see what's going on. I want to do slightly less thinking. I want to see, listen to just what they think a good lead sounds like. I like that best out of what I've heard so far. So, let's put this back on. I'll demonstrate what it sounds like as opposed to explaining it. So basically what that's doing is, it's like a little warble. Like I recorded this a bunch of times. Which I can't really do. This is a plugin. But it adds to the effect. So yeah, mix is low. I want this to be subtle. Depth and speed should have been self-evident for my little noodling, but it's not that important. That said, tone sounds alright so far, but I want to try a different impulse. Let's try one of the bright impulses. Yeah. Whoops. Not Bright X. Bright. Yeah, I wound up liking that best out of what was there. So let's go ahead and take this entire signal chain. We'll copy it over here. Shit, you didn't say anything. So yeah. Obviously, these being leads, the double tracking sort of stuff we got going in the rhythm bus wouldn't make sense, so both of the leads just have their own instance to themselves. So let's hear what they sound like. So yeah, like I said, this EQ that I got going here, I forgot to high pass it. That probably wasn't helping the mix much. But yeah, so the EQ, again, about 3,000 hertz, just adding a little bit, just to make it poke out. Again, that'd be undesirable in a rhythm track, would just make it sound annoying, but here, it's what we need. So, full mix again, let's see what it sounds like. Should probably limit it now that I think about it. -3. Let's see, should probably put that on the rhythm guitar too now that I think about it. We'll just use the limiter, this one. So again, -3. That was a tip I learned, I believe it was Fake Smile Revolution was the gentleman's name. Sort of a bedroom metal producer, but he was one of the earlier ones to really tutorialize everything. His advice was, before you try to master everything, make sure that there is no track in the mix that's going over 3 decibels. Or going over -3 decibels. Because obviously you don't want anything clipping, but -3, that's the golden number. That said, the rhythm guitars are kind of low, should probably fix that. Okay, so I screwed something up over here. They're not even. You can see that. Okay, let's just put both of these back where the volume would be by default. Yeah, no, that's not working either. That would probably be why. Okay, now everything's roughly where it should be. That's what I'm after. That's what I've been looking for so far. That said, I still don't think I'm done experimenting. There's just one other thing I want to try. So let's bring it back over here. I could leave well enough alone, but that's not what That's not really the proper way. That's not how metal production works. So, this is a nice modern overdrive, but I want to try a vintage one. So we'll replace it with Minotaur. So, this is another Membrini plugin, and this is their take on what is called the Klon Centaur, which is a very famous / infamous guitar pedal. It's a lot like the standard green tube screamer, except a lot of people say it's much more transparent. It's more about what the amp does. Shows off what the amp can do more than what the pedal can do. Not really digging in this application, though. We'll go back to that Doctor drive. Wait, no, that's right. I didn't alter this one. I can just copy it from over here. Okay, level was... What the hell am I doing? I can just copy and paste it. Okay, I think that was the one. Yep. So get rid of this one, and we'll leave this one. Alright. We'll leave the drive alone for the moment, but I also want to experiment with another amp sim. So, we'll replace the effects. Let's see what we got. I have an ungodly amount of amp sims, so this could take a while. Let's stick to the Thermionic line. So, this is a paid amp sim plugin by Kazrog. Very nice amp sims, only problem is they're basically abandonware. He's not selling them anymore. He's making a new series of amp sims, but it's very slow going. They only have one amp sim so far, out of all of these. So let's see, I'm going to try his 5150 sim, Psycho C. That's usually a pretty safe bet. Of course, if I'm doing that, I gotta bring that IR back. And we'll stick with Express High, just what it comes with by default. Let's see how it, first let's put this on the right channel. Now we'll see how it sounds. Good enough start, but let's mess around with the impulses a bit more. I think now I want to try out Devil's Lab. Here we go. More obscure, but these are free impulses. Devil's Lab. I recommend these guys. They have a lot of good stuff. So, if we're going 5150, that means we're probably going to want to use the Magma pack to start. This pack is based on the guitar tone of the legendary Gojira, which is a good band to try to imitate if you want heavy guitar tones. Let's see how it sounds. Let's see, I'm feeling tone 8 today. Let's use that. That said, I need to redial the pedal as well. Let's try it out. Now we'll do the amp dialing, put everything here. So this is basically what the saturation knob does here. Everything here should be self-explanatory if you were paying attention to when I was messing with the rest of the amps, but this one here, this is a different one. This is basically imitating what happens when you make an amp louder. It saturates the tubes a bit more, gives a little more character, but sometimes it's not desirable. So that's part of the dialing. But before I did that, I probably should have played with the gain a bit more, just to see what I needed. Okay, so there is fine. Now we'll get back to the dialing. Scooch everything over here. Alright, I'm liking how that sounds. So again, we'll copy it over here. And we'll see what happens when we put it into the full mix. Once I put this back where it belongs, now let's listen. Sounding pretty nice, pretty nice. Of course, we're going to alter the lead if we're going to do that. So again, we'll just take all this, and we'll copy it over to this part first, just to see how it sounds. Again, leave this alone, delete the rest of these, paste these here. Let's take a listen. Apparently I did something wrong. It's not playing. Of course it's not playing. I wasn't highlighting the right section. Whoops. Alright, I like that lead tone. We'll use that. And much like last time, we'll paste it over here. Yeah, again, this is the sort of thing that takes a lot of experimentation. Alright. So let's hear how it sounds in context. Sounding pretty nice. I'm liking that. So now, I think we're going to see how it sounds mastered and pray that it doesn't kill my computer. So, I use a very simple mastering chain. I just do some bus compression, just compressing the whole mix first, using this plugin. And this preset. I stole a lot of settings from Glenn Fricker if that wasn't obvious. Learn from the best. Anyways. So, if I put it through the mix compressor, it'll sound like this. So yeah, made things a lot quieter. No shit. That's what compression does. But the volume will get made up for over here, in the mastering. So this might make the frame rate take a shit, so don't mind it. It's just how it works. Alright, so you just hit this learn button and have the song play, and it'll come up with the mastering chain for you. Very handy, especially for somebody who doesn't know how to master like me. Let's see what it does. Of course, I have to turn it on first. Now let's see what it does. So yeah, don't mind the crackling, that's just the result of OBS and this conflicting, but trust me, in the final render it'll sound really good. So, yeah, that's a pretty good taste of how I tend to approach that sort of thing. So yeah, that's basically for heavy tones. Sounds pretty alright, right? So that said, that's only part one. There's still another thing I want to try to do. So next order of business is I want to try, I've been thinking of needing to update my clean tones. I need to update my clean tone palette a bit. So for that, I'm going to open up the other project that I made last night. Because again, this program, this particular thing isn't gonna really help out that much when it comes to deciding, helping me decide what'll sound good in a clean tone context, so I had to make a song. Well, song, it's more like 3 measures. Either way, I had to do something from scratch, just to see what it does. Just a simple 4-measure thing. And it's loaded, so let me switch over here. Perfect. So yeah, just a simple sort of thing here. Clean tone demo. So let's take a listen to it. I'll show you what I came up with immediately. Except I forgot to put restream on. That would have been awkward. So, send local broadcast. So if I play it now, you should hear it. So yeah, nothing stunning, nothing that's gonna win me a Grammy, but it'll work for this application. All I'm doing is just showing you what the clean tone is supposed to sound like. I just want to mess with clean tones a bit, just see what I can do. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and see what I did. So this is a preliminary tone I came up with. Relay it again, of course. Just basically arpeggiating an open E chord, nothing that interesting. So for the first amp sim, I decided I tried to dip in a Kazrog, a Marshall Plexi. Real old, very low gain sort of amp sim. Just because I wanted to try it out. And then for the cap sim this time I used Egno 112 by 3 Sigma, based on an Ignator cabinet. Very on the nose name. And then I chose a different chorus. I decided to try Dead Ducks, just for the sake of seeing what would happen. Sounded good in this context, so why not? So first, let's try some different amp sims, just to see what goes on. So I think I'll start with a more out there pick. Let's see, I should have this. Yep, the Ignite Emissary. So, this is usually meant for like crazy high gain death metal tones, but I actually really like this. I like its clean channel. I want to see what it sounds like in this context. As soon as I actually put it on the clean channel. So yeah, it's a clean channel, sounds nice on its own. Might as well try to dial it in. But there's a more subtle change I can make first. If I go click this arrow right here, takes you to the back. It allows you to change up a few other settings. You can turn tube emulation off. I didn't know you could do that. That's interesting. Learn something new every day. I didn't know you... I thought the tube emulation was just baked in and you couldn't use it. That's actually really helpful for clean tones. A lot of people prefer solid-state amps for clean tones. So if you turn off the tube emulation, then you basically made it a solid-state amp. That's not what I meant to do, though. What I meant to do was, see, 606, this is the common American tube. I want to switch it to EL34s. This is a more British sort of sound. So yeah, I like that, but obviously, EL34s are a little more sensitive. They can get a bit crunchier, which is a desirable tone sometimes, but I'm after a pure clean here. So... yeah, on second thought, these are a bit too much of a balancing act for me. Again, that breakup sort of sound is desirable in a lot of cases, but that's not what I'm going for here. I didn't know turning off the tubes would also turn these off as well. Yeah, I'm sure I can live without them. Alright, so now let's listen to some actual tone shaping. Alright, so that's what I like as far as this impulse is concerned. But I'm in the mood for more experimentation. So, let's switch over to Metallica Golden Classics. These are basically what they say on the tin. They're meant to imitate Metallica tones. But they also have Hetfield's Clean Tone, based on the Roland JC100, which I believe is the name of the amp. Very famous solid-state clean amp sim. That's what I was talking about a minute ago, where some people prefer solid-state amps for their clean tones. So let's try that. Sounds a little like that. So, sounds nice enough. It'll sound better once I engage the chorus, but for the immediate moment, let's dial it in. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling for the immediate moment. So now we kick on the chorus, and it sounds a little something like this. Bit of a subtler effect, but it's just what I'm feeling at the moment. Obviously gotta turn it up. Let's hear how it sounds in context. So yeah, significantly more laid back. I like how that tone sounds. So I didn't mean to talk about drums, because they weren't the point of this stream in particular, but might as well go over them a bit. So what we're doing now, what I did for the drums, I actually used the exact same, these are actually my common metal drums, Northern Artillery. Been using these on tracks of it lately, and they sound heavy as fuck. But I decided to see what they can do in a lower gain context, and I'm fairly pleased with the results. Because again, some of these actually sound, the samples actually sound fairly nice if you play them softer than usual. Now again, like I said, these velocities are way lower than usual. If it were a metal mix, I would have, they'd be all the way, if it were a metal mix, they'd be all the way up here. But again, that's not what I'm going for. This is supposed to be a softer, cleaner sort of sound. Because the thing is, as you may know, I am seeking commissions, so I would like to have a drum tone prepared that's a bit on the softer side. Gotta prove that I can be sensitive when I need to be. Much like this library. Because no drum plugin is a one-trick pony. At least, not the ones that are insanely pre-processed. This is more on the raw side, so you can do basically whatever you want with it. It's much more malleable. Because sure, you can use it to make crazy, overdriven, all assault all the time metal, but again, if you process it correctly, you can make it a bit softer. So the last thing I really need to explain as far as that goes is the plate sound. Because drums, snares need reverb, but In tracks like this, not as intensely. So if you look here, this I didn't use, I can probably get rid of it, but... So, you may know that I'm more of a fan of using impulse responses for reverbs as opposed to flat-out reverb plugins. As you can see, I tried to experiment with the Dead Dog reverb and it wasn't giving the results I wanted. So, what I did here, Morvox MSP. This is a pack that I've been using, and it's where my usual plate comes from, which I might as well show you. So, again, if it was a metal track, I'd be using big plate. Let me turn this up a bit. Play it one more time. So yeah, much more intense cannon blast sort of reverb, which is what I want in metal, but not so much for this. Not for this application. So what I did was I switched over to a reverb called Ambiplate from the same pack, and it sounds like this. That said, it was significantly quieter in the mix. Because again, it's supposed to be just sort of a glue element. You're not supposed to notice it. It's just there to bring everything together. Make the snare sound a little more alive. And I think for that purpose it did so perfectly. So, yeah, that's more or less, that's a drum tone I think I'm going to use from now on for my cleaner stuff. My more low-gain stuff. I think it sounds good for that purpose. The rest of these are works in progress, but that's just stuff I'm going to have to work with later. More experimentation to be done, off-stream. So that said, there is one more thing I want to do. But I need to get up for a moment, so if you'll excuse me calling a break. Be right back. I'm back. Pardon me, but, yeah. So, one last thing I'm going to show you before I let you all go. This is actually something I probably wouldn't have shown off on stream had I not... not something I would usually show off, but this right here is actually the first riff I come up with for my latest commission. I've been paid to do a happier sort of song. Something more made of the happier Guilty Gear sort of songs, like Anji's theme, Bridget's theme, some of the Iska stuff, that sort of thing. The stuff that makes people think, hey, that sounds like Sonic music, because apparently every major key metal song is Sonic music. But in any case, here's the riff I came up with. And my dumbass forgot to put Restream on there again. Okay, let's try this again. So, yeah, I'd say, good enough first riff, right? But here's the rub. So, the commissioner has asked for something rather unique. They want me to combine this with traditional African instruments, which is, quite a bit of a task. But I think I'm up for it. They did ask for, they did pay premium for complicated metal. I gotta somehow make this last for 3 minutes. So I figured that's something I would do. Why not? So yeah, I guess we're transitioning to songwriting now, but that means I gotta change OBS, change the stream settings. So give me a moment. So yeah, I'm sorry for 2 breaks back to back, but it'll be worth it, trust me. Back again. Sorry, got a little sidetracked. But, yep. We're doing some songwriting now. So if I'm going to do that, if we're going to add African instruments, that means I have to bring out, if I can find the right option, there it is. There it is, the aria player. From Garriton. Because we're going to use Garriton World Instruments. If I have more ethnic music that I need to make, this is the plugins. These are the plugins that I use. We'll call this the Africa Bus, because why not? Let's see. Actually, let me switch screens real quick, because I need to consult my notes, but you don't need to see that. Because when I was checking what instruments this particular library had that I thought would fit the vibe of the song, I went to the trouble of writing them down, so let me see, I gotta find the projects folder real quick, because when I do songs intended for people, whether they be customers or just fan songs, I write down notes. Okay. Yep. So, got my notes. Let me put this over here real quick. So that's not gonna work. Okay, I guess I'll just have to memorize it. Wing it. So, first instrument we're looking for is world instruments. Standard percussion, Africa. Djembe, this is the first one that I wrote down that I thought, hey, that'd be nice to use. That's probably pretty quiet. Never mind. Sure sounds African to me. Okay, so album 1 and 2, fine by me. We'll call this track Djembe, just so we don't forget. So yeah, I think pretty much all I'm going to do as far as this stream goes is, I think I'm just going to write a percussive intro, just sort of a drum intro. But first I need to load some more instruments. Let's see, world instruments, standard, percussion, Africa, Djembe, Kapoko Kapoko, that's the next one I wanted to use. Which sounds a little like this. Yep, like that. I'll put 3 and 4. I think that has an interesting vibe to it. I think that'll work. Actually, shit, you know what? There's something I forgot to do. I forgot to say that I was switching gears on Twitter. So, let me go back there. Should probably say... Tones found. Songwriting now. With... Tones found. Songwriting now. With African instruments. Exciting. It's hard to come up with tweets under pressure, especially when they're last minute. Let's see. Okay, that's out. So, back to work. I said, back to work. Say this again. Djembe, Kapoko, Kapoko. I believe the last instrument, as far as the drum intro was concerned, percussion, Africa, Tama, there it was. Tama. Which, fittingly enough, is also the name of a brand of actual traditional drums, drum kits. Probably best known as the drum kits that Lars Ulrich uses. Interesting, interesting. Alright. So, well, oh, almost forgot. 5 and 6. Tama. So now, all that out of the way. Okay, so that's the MIDI channel. Channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. So, insert a MIDI item. Let's try to write a drum intro. We gotta keep this open just for the sake of sanity. Start with channel 1. We'll start with the, I believe it was the djembe. Gotta find its range. Okay, I think that's the pattern I want to start with. Let's start on the metronome, just to set the tempo. We'll switch to triangles, no real need for we'll just hear how that sounds like. Turn off the metronome first. Might as well turn this up too. Alright, good enough foundation. Let's switch over to the Kaboko. Let's see, a little bit of that. Probably gotta make sure, I just want to have it not play on the same beats as the djembe, just to see how it goes. Okay, these fourth notes I can probably stand place on a different note. A little more of that. Alright, that's nice and interesting. So if we switch over to the Tama. I think we'll have this sort of function as a pseudo kick drum. So I'm thinking bum, 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 bum. One, three, and. Let's see if this ends up working out. Alright, interesting so far. Let me see, let me look for another instrument to use. Let's see, so if we're looking for percussion, Africa, there we go. Except I wanted standard notation, dumbass. Sunza, let's see what that sounds like. That's a melodic instrument, that's all that I'm looking for at the moment. Let's see, standard percussion Africa. Nigerian log drum, that's on the nose. not really what I'm looking for. Might be a little redundant. Let's see. Keep looking, keep looking. Wow, way to make an entrance, Uzaka. Yeah. Crushed alive. Alright. How about Televi? Nice, alright. I can see that being useful. So yeah, give it a little walk like an Egyptian sort of feel. I can dig it. 7 and 8. Televi. I think we'll save it for the second measure. So, over to channel 4. Let's hear how this sounds after Okay, I'll wait till measure 3 to introduce it. Alright, interesting feel we got going here. Let's move this over. This one's not getting in the way. Copy this over. Okay, so now I might as well add an instrument that I knew I wanted to use. Kalimba. I wanted to use it to introduce the melody, but I can't really come up with one at the moment, so I think I'll just leave a placeholder. Just something that I can come back to this later and just replace it with something more interesting. So again, world instruments, standard, percussion, Africa, kalimbas, there we go. I'm sure you all know what a kalimba sounds like, so... Very interesting, beautiful sounding instrument. I'd like to play with them in real life. They're nice and cheap, too. So I might as well shield this while I'm at it. So yeah, if you want me to not settle for samples, if you want me to use a real kalimba on this track, you can make that happen yourself. I got one on my throne. If you're so inclined, of course. Anyways, I believe this track is an A, so if I put this in channel 5, key snap, A major. I think it was an A Mixolydian, but we can fix that later. For some reason, Reaper has decided to make my new default scale something pretty useless, so we'll fix it later. Something like that. Again, doesn't really matter, I'll just replace this later. Back to the beginning. Forgot something. Back to channel 4. This rep, I want these to be playing the entire time. I think one more rep of this, and I'll use that as the bass intro. So I'll just insert easy bass. User preset. Cola's Dangle. I have an explanation for that preset name. So, this was a preset come up with by Christian Cola, death metal producer from Germany. And this tone is based on what he thinks is a very critical sort of idea. Nap. Pleasure to see you. Good to see you. So, for those of you who don't know who Nap is here, come on. There we go. So yeah, this is Nap. She's a very gentle sort of lady. One of Jack's friends. And very comfortable vibe sort of thing. She's a fallen angel. She's nice, cute, sort of hot. But in any case, good friend of the channel. Go check her out. She usually streams much later than this, unless it's a lunch break. So yes, please check out Nap. She's fantastic. Amazing singer too. If she's singing karaoke, she will blow you the fuck away. I urge you to check that out next time she sings. I'll let you know. But yes, glad to see you, Nap. I'm doing pretty well. The stream almost didn't happen, but I know how to persevere. I know how to wake myself up when I'm not feeling the best. Alright, so anyways, back to the bass tone. So yeah, this is just the direct input. This is just what I'm using for the bass. It sounds like this. But on the quiet side at the moment, because again, it's just a DI. I would put it through a bass amp. But that's for later. Guys, we're gonna make sure, did I have that correct? Is this an A? Yes, I did. Alright. So I think for the first bass line, I think I'm just gonna copy this over. One of my more common tricks as far as coming up with a bass line. Just copying the rhythm guitar. Not exactly the greatest form, sort of misses the point of having a bass, but again, this is just early stages of the song. I can get away with this. Almost forgot to need to transpose this down an octave to make it sound like an actual bass. Make sure it sounds alright. Alright, bring that up to parity. Alright, let's hear what we got so far. Actually, I want to repeat it one more time. So, take these two items, copy them over. And maybe this measure will, maybe later on, this measure will introduce some proper rock drums. Because you want to do everything in 4. While I'm at it, might as well, for the sake of not confusing myself in the future. We'll call it intro A. Intro B. Alright, So now let's see what we got so far. So yeah, good call. Again, that one riff, that was all I had going into this, so I've come up with this little African percussion session. That gives me, now I have a better idea of where I want to go from here. So yeah, it really is that simple. That's really all I need. Just some solid ideas and a good beat idea. Again, this is still really early on, but I think this is a good start. I'm going places here. So with that, I think I'm almost ready to call it a stream, but there are a couple of other things I want to mention first. So, first of all, like I said, that is a commission that I'm doing right there. So, if you saw that and you think I can do things for you, then I would like to remind you that I do have commissions open, and that if you would like something like that for yourself, then please check out this Twitter thread if you would like some information on that. And the other thing is that, yeah, there's some information, my demo, the link to my Ko-fi. Should probably make a command for that now that I think about it, but I can, well, I'll get to that when I get to that. So, next thing I want to mention is that there will also be some updates going on. Might as well show off something. So, those of you who have been paying attention to my Twitter might already be aware that of this one thing I'm going to show you. If you'll give me a moment to bring it up. Image, there we go. So, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Check this out. I promise it'll be worth it. Look at that. So, you may have seen this little guy already, but this is my Wiggly. This is my new Wiggly right here. Little, very cute little fella, and matches me a lot better now. Probably still a couple of more things I could have done, but I would say, again, I am not the best artist, definitely not the best animator, so, I'd say for what it's worth, it came out pretty well. So yes, you may have seen my current Wiggly, but like I announced here, when I posted this for the first time, my emotes are getting an overhaul. I will be getting a new batch of emotes that'll be replacing the old ones. On Twitch, at least. So what I want to do after I get the new emotes in is that I would like to retire the old ones, but I would like to make them free to use. I think I'll put them on my Discord server. Yes, my Discord server. This would be a good time to show that. Yes, that's the link to my Discord server, if you would like. What? Yep, that link does still work. Okay, so yeah, link to my Discord server. Besides just getting to use my emotes wherever you please, I think it's a nice little, cozy little hangout. Nice place to spend time, if you're so inclined. A good little hangout, especially if you like music. We have a very private musician scene here. I'm not the only one in there. And it shows. It's a good place. So yes, once the new emotes come in, the old ones will be going in the Discord. To be used for all eternity. Just so you can remember the good times, the old times. But yes, emote overhaul. Some of which I made myself, but the rest of them will be made by an actual artiste. Who was that artiste, you ask? Why, who else but the lovely Astra von Hecate. German streamer, succubus, and very talented artist, made her own emotes, has made emotes for other people. And a good friend of the channel, more importantly. She's really fun to hang out with, but again, I trusted her with my emotes. She makes some good ones. So yes, once she's done with that, she's currently hard at work on them, and I have full confidence that she will make them look absolutely amazing. So yes, keep your eyes peeled for that. It's gonna be real cool. They're gonna look real nice. Just trust me on that. And then finally, no, I'll save that announcement for another time. There's one last thing. I think I'll leave that particular thing a surprise. So, yes. I think that'll be it for me for today. So yes, thank y'all for coming, thank y'all for hanging out. Keep your eyes peeled. I don't know what my next stream will be. I want to play 999 sometime later this week, but it's pretty busy around here, so we'll see how it goes. Yes, thank you, CC. It was a pleasure hanging out with you as well. It was a pleasure seeing all of you. I'm real happy. I thank you all very much. So, let's see who's on that I can possibly go send you all to. Just who's up?
Yeah, I think.
Let's see. Bimo, Acreus, Art Sounds. Arthur's on. So fucking Brother Arthur. Let's go say hello to my legendary brother, Arthur Abbott, writer, Imp Dude, who I keep forgetting is my brother, which is pretty funny, pretty awkward. But don't tell him I told you that. I don't have a raid message. Don't feel like I need one. Would be rather silly, but in any case, we are going to go say hello to my dear brother, Arthur Abbott. So, thank you all again for coming. Thank you all for watching. I will hopefully see you rather soon. But in any case, thank you for coming and hanging out right now. So, thank you very much. See you later.
Oh, I'm the phone.